Hello, this is David. Welcome, and I'm very happy that we're here once again on this topic. And today's topic is judgment and the authority problem. We have already discussed the last judgment, but in insufficient detail. After the last judgment, there will be no more. Judgment is symbolic because beyond perception, there is no judgment. When the Bible says, "Judge not, that ye be not judged," it means that if you judge the reality of others, you will be unable to avoid judging your own. Excuse me. So, this is quite interesting. I highlighted the last part of the last sentence because to me it's very important here. For us to understand that there is, according to the course at least, there is no one who's actually going to judge you, okay? Like, you're not going to be judged by God according to the course. They're reinterpreting things, and they're saying it actually means that if you judge, you yourself will judge yourself. You'll be unable to avoid it. And I thought that's an important distinction to hold in mind as we move forward. The choice to judge rather than to know, and again, that's very important. Would you rather know or would you rather judge? Okay. And I'd rather know than judge. Anyways, the choice to judge rather than to know is the cause of the loss of peace. Judgment is the process on which perception, but not knowledge, rests. I have discussed this before in terms of the selectivity of perception, pointing out that evaluation is its obvious prerequisite. Judgment always involves rejection. It never emphasizes only the positive aspects of what is judged, whether in you or in others. What has been perceived and rejected, or judged and found wanting, remains in your mind because it has been perceived. Okay, so here, I think the big takeaway from this paragraph is that whether or not you judge something as good, it will always involve some kind of rejection. It can never be only benevolent or only loving. There's no such thing as an only loving judgment. It will always reject. It will always involve rejection. Okay? And it remains in your mind. Okay? So here they're saying you'd rather choose to know rather than to choose to judge. If you choose to judge, you're not going to know. Okay? And you're going to be stuck in perception. So you pretty much have to drop judgment to move forward where you want to be in the know, and to drop perception and go into vision. One of the illusions from which you suffer is the belief that what you judged against has no effect. This cannot be true unless you also believe that what you judged against does not exist. You evidently do not believe this, or you would not have judged against it. In the end, it does not matter whether your judgment is right or wrong. Either way, you're placing your belief in the unreal. This cannot be avoided in any type of judgment because it implies a belief that reality is yours to select from. Now, I have to tell you right here before we move forward, even when I was making these slides, this is one of the tougher topics as well. It's simple, the sentences are simple to understand, but to internalize, you really have to sort of drop a lot of preconceived ideas and just open up and just feel it, because look at this paragraph. It's loaded with content and meaning. So look at the first sentence, for example. Look at the first sentence, for example, because the last sentence is the most important, but let's start from the top. Yeah? So, quite often we go thinking, oh, I'm just going to call, think about this. In our culture today, we keep looking at everything. We look at things on the streets, on TV, and whatever, and go, oh, that's just so much. That's crap. That's nuts. That's, 4-letter words we use, and, we're always judging. Like, throughout the day, we make tons of judgments. Even little ones, and then we think that and I'm not talking about judging your close friend and a serious matter. I'm talking about when you drive by something and you make a judgment against it or something, just criticize it or whatever, even in your mind silently. You're making all these judgments with a very silent belief that these judgments you're making as you drive along the streets quietly at things people you don't even know, things you don't even have no concern with, you believe quietly that that judgment has no effect on you. You see? But the cause is saying that obviously such a quiet belief, even whether it's subconscious or whatever, is useless, because the only way that belief will hold true is if you also believe that what you have judged against does not exist. Okay? But of course you believe that it exists, otherwise you'd not even have bothered judge it. So, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that to me, this paragraph is saying two things. Number one, whenever you go about judging things, even little things, first of all, you're reinforcing your belief in the illusion. You actually believe the illusion exists, otherwise you'd not judge it. And the more you judge it, the more you place your belief that the illusion actually exists, is a reality. Do you see what I mean? And by the illusion, of course, you know what I'm talking about. And then the second thing that I take away from this paragraph is that this last sentence, that we have a belief that reality is ours to select from. We never even stop to think about this, but it's true. We actually believe that reality is ours to select from. We keep saying, oh, that should be there, that should not be there. Now, we're trying all the time to murder something, to get rid of it in reality, and to bring some forward and get rid of others. We're always trying to select from reality. Okay? Now let's see what the course says about that. You have no idea of the tremendous release and deep peace that comes from meeting yourself and your brothers totally without judgment. Wow. You have no idea of the tremendous. The word tremendous implies to me that when you finally meet yourself and your brothers and all of life totally without judgment, the release will be like in a way that you cannot imagine. They're saying you have no idea, that we can't even imagine. Tremendous release, that wow, it's gonna be one seriously heavy luggage that we've been carrying, that we didn't even realize we're carrying, that we're gonna let go and put down on the ground and feel this lightness of being that is indescribable. This is what I'm getting from that sentence. Anyways, let's go on. When you recognize what you are and what your brothers are, you will realize that judging them in any way is without meaning. In fact, their meaning is lost to you precisely because you are judging them. Their meaning is lost to you precisely because you are judging them. And may I also paraphrase that? Your own meaning is lost to you precisely because you are judging yourself. So do you see why it's so important to stop judging? All uncertainty comes from the belief that you are under the coercion of judgment, the coercion, the belief that you must be judged and you must judge. However, the Course says you do not need judgment to organize your life. You see, we keep thinking that we need to organize our life using judgment. This is good, this is bad. Throw that in, put that in, in there. Stop doing that. Force yourself, start doing that, and do that to everybody else you meet. So we believe that we are under the coercion of judgment. But the Course is saying you do not need judgment to organize your life, and you certainly do not need it to organize yourself. In the presence of knowledge, all judgment is automatically suspended, and this is the process that enables recognition to replace perception. In the presence of knowledge, all judgment is automatically suspended. That is such an important sentence. And this is the process that enables recognition to replace perception. You are very fearful of everything you perceive but have refused to accept. That's true. The things that we perceive but we have refused to accept, we are afraid of them. We hope they never come to touch us. You believe that because you have refused to accept it, you have lost control over it. This is why you see it in nightmares or in pleasant disguises in what seem to be your happier dreams. Nothing that you have refused to accept can be brought into awareness. It is not dangerous in itself, but you have made it seem dangerous to you. Like they always say, I've heard this phrase said several times before, I can't remember where. But it's a phrase that's, I don't remember exactly how it goes. Let me try. On the other side of what you fear, you will find yourself. I've heard this phrase so many times in the past, and I've found that it's true. Every time you sort of, in quotes, overcome a fear, you only find yourself on the other side of that which you feared. So this is kind of saying that fear, using fear, you're trying to block, you're trying to, avoid, or rather, look, let's try again. And I'm trying to just reinterpret this paragraph in my own words, and so it might be helpful to you. So just give me a moment. As far as I understand this, is that everything in your life, you projected, put it there at some level. Maybe not at your waking level. On Monday 9 a.m. you put the mountain in front of you, in front of your office, or you built Toyota company and you somehow bought a car from them. So I'm not saying at the physical level that we're used to saying, but I'm saying at some level, if the Course is true and we are creators and image makers and we project, and this whole reality comes from within us, then all of it is us, or is you, to make it easier to understand at some level. Okay, so now when you reject part of you, although you think it's out there, you're taking it away from your awareness, and you're afraid of it because you also believe you've lost control of it. Okay, and then it comes back to you in various other guises, and the Course is saying that nothing is dangerous in itself because it's all you, it's all us. But you have made it seem dangerous to you, and therefore you live in such a dangerous dream or experience. So that's my take from this paragraph. I hope I have, added a little bit of value there. When you feel tired, it is because you have judged yourself as capable of being tired. When you laugh at someone, it is because you have judged him as unworthy. When you laugh at yourself, you must laugh at others, if only because you cannot tolerate the idea of being more unworthy than they are. So I'm saying, it's saying that if you deem yourself unworthy and then you'll therefore laugh at yourself, then automatically you will end up laughing at others, because you cannot tolerate the idea that you are more unworthy than others. So if you take yourself as unworthy, you're going to take others as unworthy. You see? It's also saying that the only reason you feel tired is because you have judged yourself as capable of being tired, not because you are built capable of being tired, no matter what science or biology might tell you, but it's because you have judged yourself as such. That is why then the biology tailors itself to become tired. You see? So it's really flipping the coin right here, the cause, yeah? So let's just read on. All this makes you feel tired because it is essentially disheartening. You're not really capable of being tired, but you're very capable of wearing yourself. So once again, it's just emphasizing the problem with judgment. The strain of constant judgment is virtually intolerable. It is curious that an ability so debilitating would be so deeply cherished. I think they're laughing at us. Anyways, no, I'm just joking. Yet, if you wish to be the author of reality, you will insist on holding on to judgment. You see, this is a very important sentence. That's why it's highlighted. If you wish to be the author of reality. Remember, we said before that we have a belief that reality is ours to choose from, to select from, and also we believe that we can create ourselves, and the images we have projected are real. You see, so it's just saying that if you wish to be the author of reality, you will insist on holding on to judgment. So as long as you do those things we just mentioned, you will automatically hold on to judgment, and we've already seen how tiring and it's just debilitating judgment is. You will also regard judgment with fear, believing that it will someday be used against you. This belief can exist only to the extent that you believe in the efficacy of judgment as a weapon of defense for your own authority. Now that's a heavy sentence, okay? I just judge the sentence. It's not heavy, it's light. You see how easy it is to just get into judgment? Anyways, heavy, light, it's still a judgment. Anyways, the belief can exist only to the extent that you believe that judgment is a good weapon that you can use to defend your own authority. And by authority, they're saying you believe that reality is yours to select from. You believe that you've created yourself. You know, that whole thing that you've got a self-image. We talked about that before. And the whole thing that your projections or your illusions are real. That whole thing. That's what they mean here by authority. Okay? Authorship. Authoring your life. Author of your life. Okay? So, as long as you think or believe that judgment is a good weapon, and by the way, whenever somebody tells you something and you go, no, that's crap, and blah, 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 you're just defending your own authorship of your reality. So as long as you believe that judgment can be used to defend your own authorship of your own reality, yeah, then you will also fear judgment down the road. And as long as you insist on being the author of your own reality, you will use judgment. The Creator offers only mercy. Your words should reflect only mercy, because this is what you have received, and that is what you should give. See? Justice is a temporary expedient or an attempt to teach you the meaning of mercy. It is judgmental only because you are capable of injustice. Okay? They're just saying that here, the whole idea of justice, the right kind of justice, to use those words, it's a temporary tool to teach you the meaning of mercy, because once you've totally entered mercy, then you throw away justice. Okay? And the only reason why justice is there, and of course it is a judgmental tool in and by itself, is because you are capable of injustice. So it's just there to kind of help you. get out of injustice. But the ultimate goal is to be in total mercy all the time. Mercy to yourself, mercy to others all the time. Because that is what the Creator offers, only mercy. I have spoken of different symptoms, and at that level there is almost endless variation. There is, however, only one cause for all of them: the authority problem. This is the root of all evil. Every symptom the ego makes involves a contradiction in terms, because the mind is split between the ego and the Holy Spirit, so that whatever the ego makes is incomplete and contradictory. I think that's an easy sentence to understand. This untenable position is the result of the authority problem. Do you see that? Let's slow down here. They have said there's only one root cause, the authority problem. And may I remind you what authority means? We have decided to make a self-image. We have decided to drop who we really are and construct a self-image which is I wouldn't want to call it even a tiny fraction of who we really are. It is a distortion of who we really are. That is what our self-image really is. That is the authority problem. And then from there, we've also gone ahead to define what life is instead of looking at it from what it really is. We have decided to distort it. This is what they're calling the authority problem. And that's why they're saying it is the root of all evil. Okay? And then they're going on to say that the ego is automatically contradictory because it splits the mind. Not that it splits the mind, but the mind is split between the ego and the Holy Spirit, so that whatever the ego makes has to be incomplete and contradictory with reality. Okay? And so now they're just saying this untenable position is the result of the authority problem, which, because it accepts the one inconceivable thought as its premise, can produce only ideas that are inconceivable. The issue of authority is really a question of authorship. When you have an authority problem, it is always because you believe you are the author of yourself and project your delusion onto others. Wow. When you have an authority problem, it is always because you believe you are the author of yourself and project your delusion onto others. You then perceive the situation as one in which others are literally fighting you for your authorship. Look at that. I mean, we can all identify with that. Growing up as kids, what is our perception of our parents and our, environment growing up? We always, today, in today's day and age, it's so popular to say, oh, I was raised up badly, or it's because of my mom or my dad or my uncle or whatever that I'm like this now. That's exactly what this sentence is talking about. You then perceive the situation as one in which others are literally fighting you for your authorship. You want to be your own person, and you're saying somebody else ruined that dream. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, this is the fundamental error of all those who believe they have usurped the power of the Creator. The fundamental error. This belief is very frightening to them, but hardly troubles the Creator. Think about this sentence. This belief is very frightening to them. And I'm going to bring you back that example of growing up. How I'm sure either you or somebody who's blaming their parents for their life today. That's basically saying, I am the author of my life, but the other person took away authorship, and so look where I am now. I'm messed up. And you can see this belief is very frightening to them, but hardly troubles the Creator. He is, however, eager to undo it, not to punish his children, but only because he knows that it makes them unhappy. The Creator is eager to undo this madness for you and not to punish you. He's not undoing it to punish you, or she is not or it is not undoing. We're only using the word he here because English forces us to. So he's only doing that not to punish you, but because he knows it makes you unhappy. The creator's creations are given their true authorship, but you prefer to be anonymous when you choose to separate yourself from your author. The creator's creations are given their true authorship, but you prefer to be anonymous when you choose to separate yourself from your author. Being uncertain of your true authorship, you believe that your creation was anonymous. This leaves you in a position where it sounds meaningful to believe that you created yourself. In other words, we've just gotten lost. That's all it's saying. The dispute over authorship has left such uncertainty in your mind that it may even doubt whether you really exist at all. How many times have we doubted that? Our real existence. So many people. Actually, look, this is not a make-believe sentence. There are lots of people who believe that, once I die from this world, I'll just, some say I'll go to heaven, some I'll go to hell, some I'll go into limbo, some I'll become a cat or a dog. Some say it's just darkness, nothing, it's the end, So there's a lot of uncertainty. And they're suggesting it's because of this leaving true authorship and taking this self-authorship position. Only those who give over all desire to reject can know that their own rejection is impossible. Wow, important sentence. When you give away, you let go of all desire to reject, as in you go into total acceptance. Only then will you know, and they're using the word know, that your own rejection is impossible. See, there's a condition there. It's not negotiable. When you're totally in acceptance, you will totally be in acceptance. When you hold on to rejection, you will be in rejection. You have not usurped the power of God, but you have lost it. Fortunately, to lose something does not mean that it has gone. It merely means that you do not remember where it is. Its existence does not depend on your ability to identify it or even to place it. It is possible to look on reality without judgment and merely know that it is there. That is possible. That is possible, my friends. You don't have to go judging and, holding on to all those attack thoughts and that kind of thing. We can look on reality without judgment. It will not take away anything from you. It will not ruin you. It will not destroy you. So why then do we insist on going around with judgment and attack thoughts of whatever nature? Don't you think that's an important question to ask yourself? If it's possible to live free of judgment and attack thoughts and live well, then why bother yourself with the extra load and punishing, crushing, self-defeating, strenuous, bad feeling concept of attack thoughts and judgment? Why can't we just drop it all if we don't need it? What is its point? That's a very important question to ask yourself. Peace is a natural heritage of spirit. Everyone is free to refuse to accept his inheritance, but he is not free to establish what his inheritance is. In other words, you cannot change your inheritance, but you can refuse to accept it. The problem everyone must decide is the fundamental question of authorship. All fear comes ultimately, and sometimes by way of very devious routes, from the denial of authorship. And they're talking about now the authorship that is in your inheritance, your true authorship here. They're not talking about now the self-ego authorship. All fear comes ultimately from the denial of your true authorship, not the ego authorship here. The problem comes from the ego authorship. But when you deny your true authorship, that's where the fear starts. And it says in very devious roots, so you cannot sometimes even trace the origin that they're talking about here, but they're saying it all originates from the same place. The offense is never to the Creator, but only to those who deny Him. To deny His authorship is to deny yourself the reason for your peace, so that you see yourself only in segments. This strange perception is the authority problem. To deny His authorship, in capital A, is to deny yourself the reason for your peace. Remember, peace is the natural heritage of spirit. And once you've denied yourself like this, you see yourself only in segments. Yeah, partial. Remember, perception versus vision. Vision is full. This strange perception is the authority problem. There is no one who does not feel that he is imprisoned in some way. If this is the result of his own free will, he must regard his will as not free, or the circular reasoning in this position will be quite apparent. Free will must lead to freedom. Judgment always imprisons because it separates segments of reality by the unstable scales of desire. We'll read through all this one sentence at a time. Let's just finish it. Wishes are not facts. To wish is to imply that willing is not sufficient. Yet no one in his right mind believes that what is wished is as real as what is willed. Instead of seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, say, will ye first the kingdom of heaven. And you have said, I know what I am, and I accept my own inheritance. This is a loaded paragraph. Let's go at it one sentence at a time. The first sentence, there is no one who does not feel that he is imprisoned in some way. I think we all feel trapped in some way. If this is the result of his own free will, he must regard his will as not free, or the circular reason in this position would be quite apparent. You see, what it's saying here is the only reason why we feel trapped in some way or imprisoned in some way is because we believe our will is not free. Okay? Yet, if the belief that our will is not free is a result of our own out of our own free will, no one forced us to believe this, out of our own free will, at some stage and level, we decided to believe that we're not free. Out of our own free will, no one forced us, we decided to believe we are not free. You see? you see that? So they're trying to get you out of a circular reasoning. Circular reasoning. Because you're trapped in an idea that your will is not free, yet you got into that idea because your will is free. And the only way you're going to get out of that circular reasoning trap that your will is not free is to go back to your free will state. Okay? So it's kind of like a circular trap, chicken and egg thing. Anyways, free will must lead to freedom. So they're saying automatically, the fact that you have free will, it must lead to freedom, except when you believe you don't have free will. Okay? In that case, then you feel imprisoned. Now, check this out. Judgment always imprisons. I bet in your mind you might have had the idea, how did I get imprisoned? How did I lose? How on earth could I have gone from free will and then believe that I'm not free-willed? How would I make such a stupid step? Check this out. Judgment always imprisons because it separates segments of reality by the unstable scales of desire. Okay? So I think we've covered that a little bit. Judgment imprisons. Drop judgment, you'll get out of the circular reasoning and you'll be free. You see? Drop judgment, drop attack thoughts, and you'll be free. Simple solution. Now let's move on to the second segment of this paragraph. Wishes are not facts. To wish is to imply that willing is not sufficient. We've already said that we are in a position whereby we believe we don't have free will, and of course, following that, therefore, even our will is not enough. We can will something and it won't happen. But the cause is saying there's no such damn thing. Your will makes things happen, because your will and the Creator's will are one. They are the same. The real will, it is creative. You will something, it becomes. It doesn't argue. It doesn't fail. But we've dropped that place. We've come to a place whereby we believe our will is not sufficient. So we get into wishful thinking. And wishes are not facts. Willing is fact. Yet no one in his right mind believes that what is wished is as real as what is willed. Instead of seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, say, will ye first the kingdom of heaven. You see? So the cause here is saying that don't go seeking. Just will. Your will is powerful enough. The minute you will, the minute you decide and your will, it happens. That's your inheritance. And that's why it's saying that if you say it like that, then you have said, in other words, you're implying that you know what you are and you accept your own inheritance. Your authorship, in capital A, the Creator's authorship, Creator's will is your will, not your ego stuff here. Okay? So that was quite a very deep topic, and I'm glad we went through it, because judgment is something that, we all walk around thinking about it quite often. I'm not saying, yeah, of course, we all judge every day, but I'm saying as well, we are always also trying not to judge. Judgment has become so cool to talk about nowadays in our society, like, don't judge others. We keep saying that, don't judge others. Don't be so judgmental. And I'm glad that this really brought it down to its deepest level. And we have seen really what it really is and what it really means. So thank you very much for your time. The full original texts, is down below. So you might want to read it and just have your own interpretation. But thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next topic.